are watching Platinum Northwest TV News. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us on Philadelphia Mangoeng. Let's take a look at the leading top stories. First up, the Portfolio Committee on Community Safety and Transport Management demands accountability on scholar transport woes in the Northwest Province, and the Transnet Pillow Paper healthcare train set to journey across the Northwest Province. In the business news, Qatar Airways buys a stake in South African airline, and in the sports news, Bruce announces Bafana Bafana's preliminary squad. We begin here. The Northwest Province Legislature, or the Portfolio Committee on Community Safety and Transport Management, led by the DA's Freddie Sonakile, wants action taken to address the scholar transport woes in the province. The committee has given the department 48 hours to provide a comprehensive report on the action taken against the non-compliant scholar transport service providers in the province. The poor condition of scholar transport has led to numerous challenges, including children being late for school, overloading in the transport, and blunt exposure of children to danger. The committee also related to the story that happened just a month ago, where a learner from the Lihuruti died after being forced to jump out of a moving scholar transport bus as a result of a driver who was allegedly intoxicated while transporting scholars. In other news, the Transnet Pillow Paper healthcare train is set to journey across the province. Information on specific locations at each of these towns will be provided at a later stage. Meanwhile, some residents of the provincial capital of Mangoeng have expressed dissatisfaction at not being included, saying that the city's rural areas are especially in need of the healthcare support. Other residents of Dahong, Swazrenaka and Zerast have also expressed anger at the towns not being one of the stops. In more news, the Department of Education, in collaboration with UNESCO, is conducting a workshop in training of trainers on the parent-child communication as of the 20th to the 22nd of August 2024. The workshop is set up to improve education, healthcare, and the well-being of the adolescent and young people. Chief Education Specialist Ms. Poppy Diale detailed the purpose of the parent-child communication workshop. Let's take a look.
My name is Poppy Diale. We are facilitating parents-child communication workshop with the Department of Basic Education. And we have invited officials within the Department of Education, such as school safety, QLTC, officials responsible for special programs, communications, all the officials that are responsible for addressing social ills that are denying learners to access education as well as to perform as it is required by the Constitution of South Africa. And we have also invited the Department of Health, because they are the custodians of sexual reproductive health, education and rights. We have also invited the partners that we are working with, and we have a professional health nurses. We also have social workers that are attending this workshop. We are intending to cascade this workshop to the school community members, where we will be inviting parents and learners in order to facilitate communication amongst our learners and parents. We are intending to use this strategy in order to address a high rate of learner pregnancy as well as HIV incidences amongst our learners. From this workshop, we will have an implementation plan where we will also cascade this information to our circuit managers, to our EMGD officials, to our principals, to our SGB members, so that we also facilitate communications amongst learners and their parents in order to address high rate of learner pregnancy amongst our learners. We will also continue to have engagements with parents and learners. We are intending also to rope in the RCLs, because they are the legal structures within the Department of Education. So we will use RCLs in order to facilitate parent-child communications in order to address high rate of learner pregnancy amongst our learners. Thank you.
In other news, climate change-induced changes in weather patterns are posing a significant threat to South Africa's crop field this year. This is according to Daniel Stevens, an expert in agricultural crop insurance. The agricultural sector, which is crucial to the country's economic growth, contributes 3% to South Africa's GDP and supports nearly 1 million jobs. In 2023, the sector generated over $13 billion in export revenue, primarily from citrus products. However, Stevens highlighted the growing concerns about the rising frequency and severity of extreme weather, particularly for smaller-scale farmers who lack insurance. Farmers are urged to adapt to drought conditions. In continental news, it turns out now that the 95 Libyans who came to train at Mpumalanga military camp got their visas in just 3 days. Home Affairs Director General Tomi Makode said that a study visa would ordinarily take about 8 weeks to process, but in this case, an international relations official did much of the decision-making. This despite not providing security clearance, medical cover, or proof of funds to support themselves in South Africa. Some did not even provide Libyan home addresses. Now the Libyans have been deported, and Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber had this to say about the matter.
Home Affairs is concluding its role in the deportation of 95 Libyans arrested in Mpumalanga last month. They are scheduled to leave South Africa from the Kruger Mpumalanga International Airport this morning in a flight that has been paid for by the Libyan government. I wish to commend the Home Affairs officials and other law enforcement officers who work tirelessly to ensure an expeditious processing and deportation. We will continue to deploy all resources at our disposal to ensure that South Africa's immigration laws are respected and observed at all times.
Schreiber also spoke about how Home Affairs plans to clamp down on ID fraud while upholding the rule of law.
The Department of Home Affairs has today taken decisive action against fraud involving identity books and cards. Through a publication in the Government Gazette, the department has called upon persons who are currently in possession of a blocked ID to provide written reasons within 30 days for why their ID should not be cancelled. The submissions must be sent to sylvia.pasa@dha.gov.za. The department will also undertake a sustained social media advertising campaign to provide the public with an opportunity to make representations. Through this move, Home Affairs aims to both resolve the decades-old issue of wrongfully blocked IDs while reducing the number of fraudulent documents in circulation. Some of the IDs were originally blocked as far back as 2005 for a range of reasons, including because the biometric system flagged the documents as duplicates, held by illegal immigrants, or because the ID holder had passed away. By providing the public with the opportunity to make representation, the department intends to end the inconvenience caused by the block to holders of legitimate IDs while cancelling IDs held by unauthorized persons. The gazetting of this measure is also in furtherance of compliance with a court order handed down earlier this year, which required the department to undertake a fair administrative process to differentiate between IDs that have been wrongfully blocked and IDs that represent genuine security threats. I encourage members of the public to make use of this opportunity to ensure that we conduct a just and equitable process to unblock IDs that have been wrongfully blocked. At the same time, the gazetting of these decisive measures underscores our commitment to clamp down on fraud and to move with urgency to resolve long-standing challenges, all while upholding the rule of law.
The Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Dr. Michael Masiapato, explained the entry of the Libyans to South Africa to the River military camp.
Those visas that are issued in a handwritten context, and I suppose the Minister had explicitly indicated the vulnerability of the country in as far as that is concerned. However, in terms of the current status quo, those were the visas as issued, and of course, the travelers had to be accordingly processed. In that particular instance, they did indicate that they were actually on the way into a security training environment for a period of 36 months, and they indicated the place being Militaire del Security Services, as it were. And of course, another team of 24 arrived on the 26th of April, again at OR Tambo International, same study visa, valid passports and everything, and they were accordingly processed. The next team arrived on the 1st of May, 24 of them, same OR Tambo International, same study visa, same documentation, and everything was valid.
In international news now, dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters in the United States charged a line of police in an intense standoff with officers outside the Israeli consulate on the second night of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Some demonstrators set the U.S. flag on fire in the streets, while others carried Palestinian flags, with many wearing black and having their face covered. Now, this all took place as the celebratory roll call for the Vice President Kamala Harris took place inside the United Center, just about 3.2 kilometers away. Meanwhile, former President Barack Obama has endorsed Kamala Harris to the Democratic nominee for United States President, which means that the Vice President has won the backing of all the Democratic Party's leading figures. Obama spoke at the convention. Let's take a look.
I am feeling hopeful because this convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible. Because we have a chance to elect someone who has spent her entire life trying to give people the same chances America gave her. Someone who sees you and hears you and will get up every single day and fight for you. The next president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.
After this, we take a look at the business news. And the business news, Qatar Airways Group has acquired a 25% stake in Southern Africa's premier independent regional carrier Airlink. Now, the announcement is a continuation of the multi-award-winning airline ambition to further develop its operation across the African continent. The deal will bolster Qatar Airways Africa's growth strategy and cement its role as a key driver in the continent's economic success. Now, Airlink Chief Executive Roger Foster shared a few remarks regarding the partnership.
Ladies and gentlemen, good day. Qatar Chief Executive Badar Amir, Qatar Chief Commercial Officer Thierry Antonori, Qatar Airways Chief Financial Officer Duncan Naismith, Airlink Chief Chairperson Sipho Maseko, and again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Today marks a major milestone for Airlink, with Qatar Airways committing to acquiring 25% equity stake in our airline business. Qatar Airways is a highly respected airline. It is widely celebrated for its achievements. It has built a formidable network. It continually raises the bar with its service and product offerings, all of which have made it a truly revered brand. Qatar Airways has also been a strong commercial partner to Airlink over years, and we are looking forward to deepening this relationship. Qatar Airways' investment in Airlink is a vote of confidence in Airlink, our business model, and our delivery of premier quality services and convenient connectivity to our customers and to our partner customers. Our current fleet of over 60 modern Embraer aircraft fly over 4 million passengers per year on over 85,000 flights to more than 50 destinations in 15 countries across Southern and East Africa, as well as Madagascar and St. Helena. This investment by Qatar Airways echoes Airlink's faith in these markets and in those which we plan to add to our network in the future. A core Airlink value is its independence and its agnosticism towards the three global airline alliance groups. This has enabled us to cultivate strong, mutually beneficial commercial relationships with Qatar Airways and 35 other airline partners. These are precious to Airlink and intrinsic to our business model. Qatar Airways' decision to become an Airlink shareholder recognizes the value in this strategy, and by bolstering Airlink, it lets us strengthen our other airline partnerships too. Crucially, Qatar Airways' investment is set to alter Airlink's growth trajectory. While Airlink has expanded strategically and organically over the past 4 years in particular, the fresh equity will enable us to shift up to a higher gear, enabling Airlink to grow faster, to unlock opportunities that will strengthen Airlink and enhance its competitiveness across all areas of our business.
Qatar Airways currently flies to 29 destinations in Africa, and there's been strong growth in the market with new destinations added to the Qatar Airways network on the continent since December 2020. Now, Abidjan, Abuja, Accra, Harare, Kano, Luanda, Lusaka, and Port Harcourt are the African cities newly added to the extensive network, while Cairo and Alexandria were resumed. And that's all from the business news. Sports follows next. In soccer news, there were several new and uncapped faces in Hugo Broos's 36-man Bafana Bafana squad announced for the international break. Now, Broos's men will take on Uganda on the 6th of September before facing South Sudan away from home 4 days later to kick off the qualifiers for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. The Belgian tactical announced an initial 38-man squad and will still trim it down to 23 players who will assemble in camp. Newcastle Chiefs defender Roshan Dortley, who captained Bafana's B side at the COSAFA Cup and scored his debut, is in the preliminary squad. Devin Titus, who is uncapped at full Bafana level, also received call-ups after featuring in the COSAFA Cup. Finally, Paris goalkeeper Sipo China received a call-up but was named as one of the 5 goalkeepers. Moving on to rugby news now, Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus has included 3 Rugby World Cup winners in the national squad for the first time this year for the Castle Lager Rugby Championship test against New Zealand. Now, the Bok coach has opted to increase the squad from 33 players to 37 for the 2 sold-out tests against their arch rivals at the Emirates Airline Park in Johannesburg on the 31st of August and the DHL Stadium in Cape Town a week later on the 7th of September. Erasmus' squad features 31 of the 33 players who travelled to Australia for their 2 opening Castle Lager Championship tests against the Wallabies in Brisbane as well as Perth, where they collected a full house of points for the first time in history on tour. Those results also marked the first time since the 1998 that the Boks registered back-to-back victories on tour to Australia. Erasmus called Jasper Wiese, Andre Esterhuizen, both Rugby World Cup winners in 2023, and Nicholas Janse van Rensburg. Steve Kitsoff, Jaden Hendrickse, and Kenan Moody have all recovered fully from their respective injuries and have played in the Kalinkari Cup. Now, after the All Blacks test, they will wrap up their Castle Lager Rugby Championship with a short tour to Argentina, where they will line up against Los Pumas in Santiago before returning to Nelspruit for the last match of the tournament at the Mbombela Stadium. And that's a wrap for the news tonight. Thank you so much for watching. The team will be back again tomorrow evening. Till then, good night and take care.